Well, good morning. It's Monday morning, 5 to 8. Beautiful sunny morning with somebody using a gas-powered leaf blower up the block, making me nuts. I don't think we should outlaw the things. I think we should put a bounty on them. But I really, really, really hate the sound of gas-powered leaf blowers. The thing of it is, that can be heard probably in a half mile in every direction, which makes a mile circle of everybody who can hear that. And maybe they don't even notice them anymore. I do, but that's a lot of people to irritate with a gas-powered leaf blower. And so many houses in this area use landscapers and yard cleaners, and they all there's a leaf blower every freaking day. I hate them. Okay, here's Fred. He's over here waiting on the new oil lines. Probably be in here in a couple of days, so I expect I'll have him back on the lift and before the week is out. My bikes are sitting back here, and the 73, 77, the T140 is up here. I'm going to put the new Speedo driver up here, and I put it in there. Now I'll show you something over here. Here's the bits and pieces that I have to work with today. And one of the followers said they had a problem with an MGO Speedo drive assembly. That the hole is round and the cable are square, sort of like pi r square, cake r round. I don't know. So anyway, I got this little section here that I use to spin speedometers by hand. So I stick her in here and turn this by the two little ears in here, and it rotates. So the fun part's turning it equally. And I can't see what I'm doing. Okay. There we go. And it turns. So apparently this one's okay. And I don't know, maybe it's just round out here and square in here or whatever. Or maybe, I don't know. So this one seems to be okay. I'm going to put it on the bike. Okay? So let's go take a look at the back end of the bike. Now what I'm going to do, just for show and tell, is show you how you can take the Speedo cable and spin it with an electric drill. You spin it in reverse. Let's see, am I pointing at the right place? Yeah, pretty good. You spin it in reverse. So put the drill on here, tighten it down, and then put it in reverse, and you should see action up at the speedometer. So let's do that. Okay, so he's on there now. Put him in reverse, and I'm going to show you the speedometer up here when I do it next time. Let's get this thing up in the air high enough. Oh boy. That might be as high as it goes. All right, so let's see what happens if I do this. Or I could actually lower the lift. What a novel concept. Lower the lift, Frank. Yeah. If I can't balance this, I will lower the lift. Oh, show and tell, show and tell. Always so much fun. All right, here we go. Beautiful shot of the other side of the room. I love this. This is funny as heck. Okay, now I think that you can see the speedometer. And I'm going to spin it now with the drill. And if everything goes timber, I'll pick you up. Okay, so I've got it in reverse. Okay, so that was interesting and fun. So I'm going to put the I'm going to yank the rear wheel off this bike and put the new Speedo drive on. That could have been fun. I wonder what it would look like if this had fallen off. Let's see this one. This will be a better view. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I took a quick break to have a breakfast sandwich and a cup of coffee. And the bike's up in the air. Let's yank this out. There. Now, there's a spacer in here that's very important. And then this guy goes in to match the notches to the inside drive unit. Roughly there it goes. Okay. Now it's up against that spacer I told you about. Now we have various and sundry bits and pieces that need to go on. All in the right order. This guy goes out here. This guy goes against the drive. And this guy goes out here on the end. And Bob's your uncle. Oh, and this guy has to go up here too. It's just so much fun. Don't forget that it's a whole lot easier to hook up this cable when everything's disconnected than it is when the wheel's in place. Just getting the disc pads separated. There is no such thing as a 5-minute job. Okay. Now, all at the same time. This guy. This guy. Oh. This guy. All right. This. Let's go do some work on these adjusters so that the axle will actually go through the darn thing. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. So and so. That'll be better. Here we go. Here we go again. Scooby Dooby 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 Dooby. All right, so this has to go into here. I'm going to stop it for a minute while I make sure I know which washer goes on which end of the axle. Okay, I'm back. The washers on the ends of the axle were different sizes. So I went through my supply of axle washers, which is washers, and found two that are the same, at least just for consistency. So I've got the axle through. Let's go over here and I'll show you the sequence. Let's see if I can get down here. All right, the sequence is working your way from the inside out. Is Speedo drive, great big thick heavy washer that protects that, the caliper, and then the adjuster, and then the axle, and the axle has a small washer on it. Okay, so now if we can get this all the way through to the other side, we can put the other side together. All right, so over here, let's see how we are. Ooh, very close. All right, that should tap through. On this side, it's simpler. We have the adjuster up against the spacer that's coming out of the wheel. Into the adjuster here. And the washer. And the nut. Okay, so at this point, the rear wheel's installed on the axle at least. Now, something I didn't do was make sure that these adjuster caps were in here. So I'm going to yank this all the way back now that I can lift it up off the ground. As far back as it'll go. I'm going to unadjust these adjusters. all the way. Put the little cap in the little hole, like so, sideways. Let that hold it on. Over here, same thing. Put the cap on the end of the axle, on the end of the swing arm, and tighten the adjuster down to hold it in place while we so it doesn't drop out. You're going to readjust it. Okay. And now, what I'm going to do now, I've got the caps on safely, is I'm going to unadjust the adjusters and I'm going to push the wheels as far forward as I can so I can put the chain on it. I'll be back in a minute. This has been a long video. All right, I've skipped ahead a little bit here. I have the axle all the way through. I have the axle nut snugged down enough to hold the adjusters. The adjusters are all the way forward, and the axle nut is just tight enough to hold these all the way in place. These little caps here will tend to fall off, so you want this snug while you put the chain on it, and then after you put the chain on it, we'll tension the chain and we will realign the rear wheel. But right now it's just put together sort of hand tight, and I'm going to hang the chain, which is just not easy. And let's see what happens. It's just not easy this way. I'm not going to take the chain guard off, which will probably complicate things, but what the heck. See if I can get my hand up in there and catch the chain. I checked the chain. The chain is usable. Little few miles on it, but it's usable. It's only a little bit more than 6 inches deflection in my straight line floor test. So between 6 and 8, it's usable for another year or two. I could have replaced it. This job has been a lot more complicated, took a lot more repair, and has cost a whole lot more than I know the client ever envisioned. I got to get it over this bolt. You know, after a while, I'll probably just say, oh, to heck with it, and take the chain guard out. But let's see what happens. Maybe I can get it in there. Sometimes I can. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you lose. Sometimes it rains. What movie did that come from, guys? I'll give you a hint. Susan Sarandon is in it, as is Kevin Costner. In The Bodyguard, Kevin Costner played a guy named Frank Farmer. Frank. You very seldom find any character in any movie who's named Frank who is not either a bad guy or a future dead guy. Not a good name to have as a character in a movie, sort of like wearing a red shirt on Star Trek. Man, you don't want to wear a red shirt on Star Trek. So anyway, Kevin Costner played a guy named Frank Farmer, and he was, good guy hero. I was very, very pleased. Actually, I love that movie. I don't know if you know, but I heard, don't know if it's true, but I heard, therefore, if you hear it, it must be true. I heard that they were going to do a sequel to Bodyguard with Frank Farmer bodyguarding Princess Diana here in the state on a state visit. And I thought, oh, that would be so cool. I loved Princess Diana. She's just a magnificent woman. And that would be just, what a great sequel to The Bodyguard. Anyway, I'm down here feeling the chain going on to the sprocket, hopefully. Eyes closed, visualizing. It's on the front sprocket now. And if I can move all this forward far enough to catch the end. There's a lot more room in this 750 than there are in the 650s. I would not be able to do this so casually on the 650. And we have success. How about them apples? Sometimes you win. Sometimes you lose. Sometimes it rains. Okay, I'm going to get the master link. Be right back. All right, I have the chain on loose. I have the master link on. I'm going to safety wire the master link. Put it through here like so. I don't have safety wire pliers anymore. They make special pliers. You clamp them on, pull the handle, it spins to the end, does a beautiful job of tightening the safety wire. I don't have any of those anymore. I had them in the Air Force. But this does more than adequate job. This is not mil spec. If the sergeant saw me doing this, he'd probably take my stripes. But this is more than adequate than for a if this is non-stripe, excuse me, if this is non-spec, non-mil spec safety wire, it's on a not mil spec motorcycle. Doesn't have to be tight, just has to be there. Okay, let's see if we can turn this up into a loop. What we had to do is put a loop at the end. I very seldom ever try to do this anymore. Sort of like that. Okay. So that'll hold. It's not going to rub against anything. This is a gap. It's not going to rub. It's not going to wear. Okay. And the 750s have enough room. They made all the areas, all the gaps wider, so you can actually use a heavier chain. All right, so I'm going to start pulling this back and doing the tensioning preliminarily. All right, stand by. All right, now I expect that everybody out there has seen me use this tool before. It's a rod with a hook on one end, straight rod with a slidey pointer on the other end. This can be moved up and down, in and out. And I use this for aligning the rear wheels on these bikes. Now, the adjustment on this bike at this point is pretty good. I mean, I'm going to make it a little bit tighter by turning these in and pulling the wheel back some. It's not bad. Now I'm going to check the alignment by going from the center of the axle to a firm common point here. Let's see if I can move this out wide enough so you can see the process. Yeah, you should be able to. So let's pick a spot. Anyway, here, this is a nice bolt. That's the same on both sides. So is this. All right, so if we go from here, let's go if this is more convenient. Put it on here and go to the center, right there. Now I'm going to take it to the other side and do the exact same thing. Same bolt. Except it's harder to get to. Why is it harder to get to? Because it's inset on that side. All right. We'll go from the passenger peg bolt. Bolt hole. All right, so I went on the other side. The bolt I chose here is inset. I don't know why, it's just the way the frame's made. So I went from this hole here on the passenger peg to the center. And it's pretty close. See, this one can come out a little bit. If I come out, I'm going to tighten this. So instead of bringing this out, I'm going to start with this guy. Center him on the axle. Like that. Okay, that's your gap. I'm going to go adjust the other side to match this side. That should not affect the tightness of the very much at all. I can even do it by hand. Or not. Okay, that's dead nuts on. So I've gone from the passenger peg hole to the center of the axle over here, and the passenger peg hole to the center of the axle over here. The adjustment's pretty good. I like that. When I tighten this axle, that's going to tighten. I don't know why, but it always does. So I'm going to lock these adjusters down. Excuse me. All right. Okay, I'm back. So, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Okay, perfect torque. Let's see how much that tightened up the chain. Yep, still good. I don't mind that. I like that slack. Sounds good. Let's pump up the rear brake. Okay. We have a new Speedo driver. At this point in time, the bike is done. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to ride it. Kevin is coming back Wednesday, so I'll save it for him unless I get, I don't know, until I just feel like riding it. So at this point in time, everything that we've been working on is complete, and I'm just going to call her done and wait for Kevin to come back and do the test ride. It's a tall bike. I are not a tall person, so just hold off on that. That's where we are. We have a new Speedo driver in the back, and everything's free, and the brake works. I are happy. Pi r squared. Cake are round. It's not even the heat of the day, and I'm going to call her good. 9:15. I'm going to take a ride over to Litchfield Park and take a look at the progress being made on my poor little RV. to see how they're doing. Okay, later, guys. Well, talk about wishful thinking, get in the way of reality. I'm not finished. I forgot to put on these big shiny things. So I'm going to put the big shiny things on and then double check, but I think that'll make me finished. I'll be back in a minute. Well, okay. I put the big shiny things on and the bike looks really good with them that way. So now I'm going to say it's done and I'm going to go do some running around and leave it for Kevin to test ride when he gets back, probably Wednesday or Thursday. So that's the way it is here on Griswold Road. Y'all have a good day now, yeah?